Hi, parents and caregivers of WinShape Campers. My name is Sarah Jones, and I have a dear friend, Margaret, here with me today, and we are going to give you some pro tips when it comes to health care at our day camp and our overnight camp, but more so specifically overnight camp. So again, my name is Sarah Jones, and this is my 13th summer serving with WinShape Camps. And I did take a 4-year break to be a mom from a full-time role to a part-time role, but this is my 13th summer, and I have a camper that I send to our 2-week camp at Berry. So Margaret, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Love it. My name's Margaret. I am the healthcare specialist for WinShape Camps, which in a nutshell means I'm a nurse. So I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for just over 4 years. I also have a master's in public health, and I work in oncology, and I get to work for WinShape. So 2 very different settings, but very life-giving environments. And yeah, been with WinShape now full-time 2 years. This will be my 4th summer. Spent 1 working as one of the nurses on site and then came on the full-time team. So summer number 4 for me coming up. Not 13, but maybe someday.
Awesome. Yes, one day. We aren't going to let you go. So we're going to dive right in. These are some of our most common questions that come up and that we think it's really valuable as you're preparing for camp that we share this information with you. So Margaret, tell me, what does healthcare look like at WinShape Camps?
Yeah, so it's important to keep in mind we have 2 settings. We have our day camps and our overnight camps. Day camps as a whole, think your school setting in terms of like there's a nurse on site available for all the things that might pop up, whether that be minor injuries, illnesses. If your kiddo is at camp with our day camp locations and they're starting to feel unwell, you will probably hear from the nurse on site. Those nurses are provided by our host churches. So there's someone who's from that community, does life in that community, and knows that church. If you are getting your kid ready for day camps, you'll have the opportunity to fill out their healthcare form on the registration system and just provide as much detail as you can, allergies, all the things, medications, and you're going to check in with the nurse on the Monday morning and go straight to him or her and get to know them. Overnight camps looks different. So overnight camps, obviously, we have our kids 24/7. Our 2-week locations look a little different than our 1 weeks, but every location has an overnight healthcare team round the clock, nurses and nurse aides, some nurse practitioners and physician's assistants as well. But majority of us are nurses, and we are available for all the things that come up. From scheduled meds that your kid gets on the regular to available for emergencies, addressing any issues that arise. So yeah, we're kind of just like an asset on site for our kids and our staff.
Lots of Band-Aids, I'm sure.
Oh, lots of Band-Aids, yes.
Yeah. So Margaret, what level of care are we equipped to provide at our overnight camp?
Yeah. So we like to call it wellness maintenance. So we like to think that your kids are coming to camp in one way and we're returning them to you in the exact same. That being said, things do pop up at camp in terms of illness and sickness, the same things that you would see in schools, we see in our overnight camp settings, especially just doing life together around the clock. So we have everything over the counter that one could require in adult dosing and pediatric dosing. We've got the liquids, we've got the dissolvable tablets. If you can think of it, we probably have it on site. If you would give it to your kid at home, we have it. And then we also have a couple of as needed emergency medications. So think like your albuterol. We carry EpiPens as well. We have a couple things needed just for emergency settings because our locations we're not too remote, but we are off the road and we're a little bit off the beaten path. And that's the beauty of the location, but we like to keep a good supply on hand.
Mm-hmm. And when you have a sick camper at camp, we take them to the doctor if needed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if your kid gets sick at camp, you will hear from the healthcare team. So please keep that in mind. If you're getting a phone call from Rome, Georgia, or from Young Harris or Cleveland, that you would make yourself available to pick it up. Because we hope that nothing happens in the week, but there's always a chance. And if your kid spends anything longer than a quick lie down nap with the nurses on one of the day beds, you will get a call. The minute your kid comes out of the camp setting, we will alert the parents. We will use parents first and then emergency contacts. So if you're going on a lovely vacation while your kid's at camp, please note that in the camp doc so we know who to contact.
Okay. Margaret, this is so good. What are the biggest things parents can do to make sure that their camper has the care they need, prior to arrival?
Yeah, we can't stress enough Camp Doc. If you're registered for camp, you've already gotten reminders that your Camp Doc is ready to be completed. Please fill it out with as much detail as you can. If you are wondering whether to put something, put it. It will not be in any way restrictive to your camper's experience. It just equips the healthcare team to know what your camper's been through and what they're experiencing right now. And we share that information as well with our camper care counterparts. And so put everything in there. Recent health history, allergies, any medications they're on, how we can support them at camp, do all of that. And same for day camp, be as detailed as possible in those registration forms.
Yeah. So Camp Doc is important.
It is so important. The other thing you can do in prep for camp is if your kid does take medications, that you would start as early as possible looking into where you're going to get them blister packed. So blister packing of medications is, in short, the creation of individual doses of a medication that the nurses pop out and administer dose by dose to your camper. So at home, you have the luxury of pouring it out of the bottle, taking out whatever your kid needs. In camp, we've got a big setting, lots of meds. So in order to administer meds the safest, we do need medications to be blister packed by a pharmacist. So that is all your pills, capsules, your gummies, liquids, inhalers, all that stuff. You can't blister pack that. So bring that as is with your camper's prescription information on it. But blister packing is really, really important. We can help you get that figured out on site the day of if you're absolutely unable to find somewhere to blister pack. But new change this year are FDA regulated medications.
Okay, tell me about it.
All medications that are not FDA regulated, so think your vitamins, your gummies, supplements, melatonin, does need to have a doctor's order in order to be administered in the camp setting. Okay. And that's a safety protocol that we are moving towards this year that we are excited about, but we know it's a big ask. Okay. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at the healthcare line, which is our camps line, and then press option 2. Okay.
So camp phone number, option 2 gets them directly to the healthcare team if they have questions.
Yep. Round the clock, it rings. You can always leave a voicemail. In the summer, you'll get the information for the nurses on site. So you can call that number. But the rest of the year, you'll call and you get me or Julie Bailey, who's our healthcare manager.
Amazing. Yeah. Thanks for giving that number. Yeah. So blister packing. And then also, obviously, kids get sick at camp. That's just part of it. And so you're in a large group setting. Yeah. Tell me about how we can keep them safe from just getting sick.
Yeah. Big thing is the days leading up to camp. Please be checking in with your kid and just making sure that they are feeling good, that they are feeling excited and ready and well enough to enter the camp setting. Okay. And if you have any sort of inkling that they might not be, or if maybe there's illness going around your house, call us. We would much rather give them the time to recover before they come into camp than have them come to camp and then immediately feel unwell and have to go spend time with the nurses. So spending time with the nurses is entering what we call like our isolation housing. It is not as fun as camp. There's games and there's movies, but camp is happening outside all around them. So we tried our best to expedite kids out of there, but we will keep them in isolation until they're fever-free for 24 hours without any medication or on antibiotics for 24 hours. So we start that process by reaching out to you. Like I said, you'd receive a call as a parent, but we will take them to the local urgent care. We'll run it by parents first to make sure that that's what they're on board with. But we will use all that information you put in your camp doc. We print it all, insurance cards, all the things, and take them to urgent care. And we are there, proxy parent, adult at urgent care with them, and we'll keep you in the loop. But that's awesome. We'd love to get it figured out, get them diagnosed, treated, all the things, and get them back into camp as soon as possible.
Also, when you're dropping your camper off, if you have a medication, like a newly prescribed medication, you get to add your medication to Camp Doc, and you actually drop the medication off with the nurse at that location.
Yes. So all meds come to the healthcare team.
Okay.
The only things that campers are allowed to keep on them is emergency albuterol or EpiPens.
Okay.
And even those need to come to the healthcare table first, and we can sign a release that your child will carry it all week long or all 2 weeks long.
Like in their backpack.
In their backpack, yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. This is also helpful. So, Margaret, another thing that we get a lot of questions about is allergies and food allergies.
Yeah.
So what should parents know about how we handle allergies at camp?
Yep. So again, circling back, I feel like Camp Doc is at the center of all the things we do. But what you put in Camp Doc, we run a report and pull that information long before your child comes to camp and share that with all of the parties that need to know it. So that's everyone from our camper care to our kitchens at each location. They are fully aware of all of the allergies and intolerances that are coming in terms of dietary things. And they will work to make sure that there's options for your camper around the clock.
Okay.
We are nut aware. So we don't serve nut products in any of our locations, but we are always at the mercy of what is possibly sent in a care package. So please keep in mind that even if your kid doesn't have a peanut allergy, please do not send any nut products in your care packages. But we, in terms of other allergies and other emergency, possibilities, all EpiPens and such are on file as well with the nurses. So we know exactly who is on site with a wasp allergy, with a dairy allergy, with any sort of risk of anaphylaxis. Your healthcare team is equipped with that information before your child steps foot on site.
Which is why we ask the Camp Doc to be filled out so far in advance so that we can be aware. That's so good.
Yeah. And if you have last minute changes, we know kids change day to day, but if you have a last minute change to your camper's health picture in the week leading up to camp, don't stress about having to log into Camp Doc and do it right away. Go ahead and call us and we can address, a new injury if they're coming to camp now in a cast or in a boot, or they've got, had a recent change. Just go ahead and call us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Margaret, this is also helpful. I know this is going to be helpful for our parents to hear what happens at camp and how that you care for our campers and safety being the first priority. So families can go to winshapecamps.org/safety to learn more ways to keep your campers safe during the summer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
This has been lovely.
Yeah, it's been great.